The profound and unsettling shift begins not with a crisis but with a creeping, pervasive neutrality, a quiet desertification of the inner landscape where once the vibrant flora of feeling, joy, anticipation, connection, holy passion, grew in wild abundance. You wake into a life that has lost its sensory saturation. The coffee is merely hot liquid, the morning commute a silent transit through a grayscale world, the embrace of a loved one a familiar pressure devoid of its once electric current. This is the territory of the sacred unraveling, a divine and disorienting invitation into a deeper life that initially feels only like death, a season where God, in His profound and often terrifying mercy, begins the meticulous work of separating your soul from everything it is not, so that all which remains is the irreducible, holy essence of who you are in Him. This process is not the punishment of withdrawal but the intimate surgery of reconstruction, a journey from a faith and an identity built on the shifting sands of performance, emotional fuel, relational echo, and spiritual sensation to one founded on the unshakable bedrock of pure being and divine sonship. The numbness you experience is the soul's local anesthetic for this operation, a grace to shield you from the full trauma of the false self's dissolution, as the very supports you've leaned upon for decades, the achievements that validated you, the hobbies that distracted you, the relationships that defined you, the spiritual highs that confirmed you, are gently but irrevocably identified as scaffolding, necessary for a season of construction but never meant to be confused with the permanent structure of your true self. You stand in the ruins of your own carefully curated identity, feeling not the pain of loss but the hollow terror of vacancy, convinced you are becoming a ghost in your own life, a man going through the motions with a deadened heart, a failure at the most basic task of feeling human. This narrative of decay is the enemy's counterfeit explanation for a holy process, a lie that brands the necessary silence as a symptom of breakdown rather than the environment of breakthrough. In truth, you are not breaking, you are being unmade to be remade. The emptiness is not a hole but a space being cleared, the silence not God's absence but His most profound form of speech, a divine archaeology where the dirt of old motivations, borrowed identities, and surface-level sustenance is painstakingly brushed away to reveal the eternal artifact of your soul as He conceived it before time began. You are learning, in the most visceral way possible, that your worth is antecedent to your action, that your identity is a source truth rather than a reflected image, that God's presence is a constant atmospheric reality rather than a sporadic weather event of feeling. This education of the heart is brutal in its gentleness, for it strips you of every internal map you used to navigate your worth. The performative layer, where you are the good son, the reliable provider, the fixer, crumbles as tasks lose their meaning and accomplishments their validating thrill, teaching you that you are not your resume. The emotional fuel layer, where you managed your inner climate with the thermostats of entertainment, consumption, and distraction, shorts out, leaving you stranded in the raw weather of your own soul so you might discover that His presence is the true sun, not the lamps you've been switching on and off. The relational echo layer, where you saw yourself in the laughter, approval, or need of others, grows quiet, forcing you to hear your own voice and, beneath it, the whisper of the Father calling you by your true name, apart from any role you play. Most disorienting of all, the spiritual sensation layer, where you felt close to God in the stirring music, the moving prayer, the ecstatic moment, goes dark, initiating the dark night of the senses where He performs the ultimate surgery, severing your faith from your feelings, transferring your trust from the thrilling, unreliable roller coaster of emotional experience to the silent, unmoving granite of His character and promises. This is why you feel so empty. These layers constituted the bulk of your lived experience. To have them become neutral is to feel your inner world deleted. Yet, A file deleted from the desktop is not gone from the hard drive. It is merely removed from the active interface, and God is changing your entire operating system from one that runs on the visible, tangible, and feelable to one that runs on the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. In the daily grit, this looks like a new, almost painful sensitivity to falseness, an allergic reaction to platitudes, corporate spin, and religious cliché, paired with a being disarmed by raw, unvarnished truth and simple kindness. It looks like cravings for old numbing agents simply evaporating, not through white-knuckled willpower but because the part of you that hungered for that filler has been spiritually bypassed, its energy rerouted to the core. It looks like saying no to social obligations not from spite but from a soul-level stewardship, a need to guard the fragile, quiet space where this real work is happening. It looks like the big accolades leaving you cold while the small, human moments, a child's concentrated frown, an act of unobserved kindness, pierce the veil with a sudden, poignant ache of recognition. Your part in this is not to manufacture feeling but to endure the lack of it with trust, to show up with dogged faithfulness when all internal motivation has vanished, to pray when it's words into a void, to work when passion is a memory, to love when the feeling is an intellectual fact. You are learning to act from conviction, not compulsion, to live from the core, not the cortex or the limbic system. There will be days of profound grief where you mourn the old, simpler you, the man who felt God in a sunset and derived easy pleasure from a meal. Let yourself weep for him, for he was a stage, and letting go of a stage is a death. There will be days of intense doubt where the accusing voice insists this is pathology, not spirituality. Cling then to the intuition that this emptiness has a different quality than despair. Despair is a crushing black hole, while this is an open sky, vast and terrifying but clean, speaking of altitude, not oblivion. Slowly, imperceptibly, a shift will occur. You will stop railing against the silence and begin to notice its texture, its sanctity. The emptiness will start to feel less like a vacuum and more like a sanctuary, a room stripped of clutter. In this clean, bare room, you will begin to discern a different sound, not the crashing cymbals of high emotion but the low, constant hum of presence. You will realize the God you sought in the fireworks was always here. In the stillness, the feelings were the fireworks, but he is the oxygen. From this place, a new man is formed, not built but revealed. His strength is in his stillness, his peace is the presence of a settled center, his joy is not a peak on a graph but the baseline, a deep, subterranean river of okayness. He loves from overflow, not need, works from calling, not insecurity, rests from accomplishment, not exhaustion. He is integrated. The civil war between the false and true self is over, and the energy once spent on that battle is now available for creation, for love, for true mission. This is the man the world needs, not the noisy, performing avatar, but the quiet, solid, real one. So, to you in the silence, hear this: you are in the hands of the divine surgeon, the cosmic archaeologist. He is not operating on a stranger. He is removing, layer by tender layer, everything that is not you, so that all which remains is the you he envisioned. The process feels like loss because it is, the loss of everything you are not. And when the last layer is brushed away, you will not find a feeling. You will find a face. His face, reflected in the now clear surface of a soul that finally, fully, knows its name. The emptiness will have become a vessel. The silence will have become a song. And you will know, with a certainty beyond emotion, that you have finally arrived home.